Hey, what's up? Oh, guys, NBA free agency starts today. It happens. All this news. I mean, my goodness. Hey, it's Rick Kamla. This is the SportsEthos NBA Show with Rick Kamla. Are you guys like me? Where there's a fire hose and you're drinking out of a fire hose right now with NBA news. I mean, just when you think, all right, yep, I kind of got a handle on, boom, Deandre Ayton gets bought out with Portland. Bro, the popcorn is popping, and I'm like vibrating. This is absolutely phenomenal, and the clock goes off later on today, and NBA free agency opens up, and we're all very, very excited. And there's so many stories and so much to get to. One of my favorite insiders and a dear friend of mine, Brandon Scoopy Robinson, is going to join us in about 20 minutes to help us break it all down. I want to tell you about Bet Online. They're our sponsor. We love them, and they're awesome. Bet Online continues to be your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball season's in full swing. Giddy up. Football season's right around the corner. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting. From MLB to UFC to tennis to NFL futures, BetOnline remains your choice for sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and a live casino. Head to the website today, betonline.com, and take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program, level-up bonuses, and weekly cash boosts. Hello, BetOnline. The game starts here. All right, guys, I've got a core four ready for you, and there's also just a glut of breaking news that came down yesterday. So so let's just dive right in, man. Like I said, there's so much going on. And Deandre Ayton, it came down late last night, worked out a buyout. ESPN reports that he and his representatives went to the Blazers about a buyout, which probably means they gave a little bit of money back because Ayton wants to play in a winning situation. This could be in Rick's rant right here, but it's a breaking news thing. But there will be a Rick's rant coming up in just a moment. ESPN ran these stats. He's the first player to average at least 10 and 10 in each of his first 7 NBA seasons since Dwight Howard. Okay. Guys, are you impressed that DeAndre Ayton has averaged 10 plus points and 10 plus rebounds for 7 straight years? Are you impressed by that? I'm not. What do you mean? It's 7 consecutive double-double seasons. Did you watch him play in college? Did you watch him play when he was highly motivated under Monty Williams? Did you watch him? Do you know how good Ayton was at Arizona? You know, he's the it guy in college basketball that year. Did you know that? Have you forgotten that? Where is that guy? Dude, this is, as coaches like to say, this dude rolls out of bed in the morning with 10 and 10 in the box score. There's no way he can't get 10 and 10. I'm not impressed by that at all. Okay? At all. Oh, 7 straight double. That's what you're supposed to do, bro. Impressive is not what you're supposed to do. Impressive is doing something beyond the expectation. That's when impressive comes in. Kobe Bryant scores 61 in a game. That's impressive. Kobe Bryant scores 39 in a game. That's not impressive, okay? It's not. Ayton gets me fired up. He does. Dude, I've gone from a huge fan to I'm not a huge fan anymore. I don't dislike the guy. I just don't F with him anymore. I'm a motor guy. I'm an effort guy. I'm a dog guy. Okay, those are the guys I like. Toughness, playing through injuries. Okay, clutch. My boy Jalen Brunson, right? Those are my guys, man. DeAndre Ayton half-assing it and coasting through seasons and bilking teams out of millions of dollars. No, that's not my guy. It's not. And that's who he is. I told you, this is like a report and analysis and a rant all in a blender. Sorry, it is what it is. The bad for DeAndre Ayton. Beyond what I just said. He played 40 games last year. 4-0. That's it. Was he hurt? I don't know. I kind of think he was curbed / he didn't feel like playing anymore. That's my truth. What was his injury? What was his injury? Got you. DeAndre Ayton's played 95 games of a possible 164 over the last 2 years. 95 out of 164. Guys, we're approaching Joel Embiid proportions here, okay? And then you have the ugly. I'm doing the good, the bad, the ugly. The ugly, Deandre Ayton took the max bag and ran into being a chronic underachiever. The guy's a chronic underachiever. They're not my guys. These chronic underachievers. Ben Simmons is a chronic underachiever. To a degree, Lance Stevenson is a chronic underachiever. Michael Beasley, chronic underachiever. Like, right? I mean, these guys are spectacular talents. Didn't really get the most out of it, right? Chronic underachievers. It is what it is. And so back to the winning situation thing. That pisses me off. Because, guys, what if DeAndre Ayton were playing well and engaged and blocking shots and going like 18-12 instead of 10-10? How much better would Portland have been? Could they have made the play-in tournament? I don't know. Donovan Clingan was weird. He was a rookie. Frankly, a lot of games he was really good. A lot of games he was really terrible. Okay? Robert Williams didn't give him anything. Duop Reith, I think, was hurt last year. And so they really missed what DeAndre Ayton could have provided because they caught a spark and they hit a heater. And so it looked like a possible winning situation. So how dare you say, I want to leave this for a winning situation when you're doing nothing to add to the winning situation? He just wants it given to him. He wants it to be easy. He doesn't want to build a winning situation. He wants to just go to a winning situation. But guess what, bro? That winning situation is going to eat you alive. If you bring this half-ass, low-motor, chronic underachiever bullshit to Golden State, Draymond is going to eat you alive like a Pac-Man game. What? He's going to eat you alive, bro. I do think, theoretically, that's a decent fit for DeAndre Ayton. But you can't, it's like James Harden talking about championships. Don't even say the word, bro. It's fraudulent. It sounds fake coming out of your mouth. I don't know. It's like me calling myself a 10. Like, said no one ever. Like, it's like talking about yourself like you're something you're not, okay? Which is delusional, and probably a lot of other stuff, okay? I'm already fired up on the SportsEthos NBA Show with Rick Kamla. Let's go. DeAndre Ayton does not get it. This dude was stuck at home in a damn snowstorm when he could have made the game, okay? Call an Uber, have somebody from the team come out. Like, he just doesn't have it, man. He just doesn't have it. So Donovan Clingan season is on in Portland, all right? In fantasy, like Donovan Clingan season. Hello. Huge sleeper. Huge uptick in numbers. Yang Hansen, the Chinese big that they took in the draft, he's probably now the backup. This buyout feels a little bit Hansen related. Robert Williams, nonstop in trade rumors. I really don't see him being a part of the plan for this team. And then you have Duop Reith, could either be the backup over Hansen or the third string guy behind Hansen. But that's kind of your center depth chart for Portland. And other than that, they have a pretty tasty little roster. If you don't, if you it's not ready to win big, but I like a lot of their players. Now, who's interested in DeAndre Ayton? Yahoo has an article where they list the Lakers, the Warriors, the Spurs, the Knicks. I don't like the Knicks for DeAndre Ayton at all. I think that's just dumb. You have Cat, you have Mitchell Robinson. There's no fit there at all. Spurs, okay, maybe, but here's like you move Wemby to the 4, you move Barnes to the bench, from the 3 to the bench, Wemby down to the 4, and then you have Ayton at the 5. Here's the problem. To be a Spur, you got to be a Spurs guy. Okay? Greg Popovich established this culture long ago. And he said, you can't bring an ego in here. You've got to get over yourself. And obviously, you've got to work very, very, very hard and be a system guy and just be a good guy, right? If you're a Spur guy, you work hard, you're great to your teammates, you're great in the community, you're not a chronic underachiever, and you're a go-getter and you're a winner and a champion and all that. Okay, does DeAndre Ayton sound like he fits the profile of a Spurs guy? Hell to the F no, okay? Warriors, I just said it. Theoretically, good fit. Yes, Draymond's their 5 right now. They freaking hate Trace Jackson Davis. Quinn Post is also there, could play some 5. Ayton is an upgrade over that. Because then you move Draymond to the 4, and then you got, what you got. Because Kuminga ain't going to be back. But Draymond is going to eat Deandre Ayton alive. So for that reason, I don't really like that. Lakers, yes. Why? They're desperate. They're not going to vet chronic achiever. DeAndre Ayton, former first overall pick, averages double-double every year. Boom, he's our guy, okay? And I'm not really mad at them. They're that desperate for a center. But the Lakers are a good fit for Ayton. Lopez, Capella, all kinds of these guys. Myles Turner, of course, would be great fits for the LA Lakers. They're bloodthirsty for a center. All right, some teams that I came up with. Boston. They don't have a center right now. Porzingis is in Atlanta. Horford's a free agent. Luke Cornett is a free agent. Did you know that? Okay. They don't even have a center right now. Okay. Charlotte. Charlotte's starting center right now is Moussa Diabate. I'm just saying, Charlotte would be a great place for DeAndre Ayton. All they have is chronic underachievers, LaMelo Ball, and all these guys. He'd be a perfect fit in Charlotte. Okay. Indiana. Now, this is only if they lose Myles Turner, right? And I don't think they're going to. The reports are indicating that they're heading towards a relationship, a continued relationship there. If not, then yes, 8 would make some sense for Indiana. That's why I wrote them down. Milwaukee, okay? They just re-signed Bobby Portis, but Bobby Portis has been that turbo bench big, right? And I wonder if they wouldn't, and Brook Lopez is going to be on another team. We already all know that. So I wonder if they would go get an Ayton, keep Portis in the role that he's been, and you'd be back to having, your 3 big man look with Giannis and then with Ayton and then with Portis. So that to me is a possibility. And Orlando is a possibility. Already made a bold move. I believe they still have a ton of draft capital. I don't know that. I just know how Orlando rolls, and I know they gave up a lot for Desmond Bane, but I bet you they still got a nice amount of draft capital. Not that they would really need it. You can go out and get DeAndre Ayton right now, in a signing. So Orlando comes to mind. You've got Wendell Carter, you've got Gogo Batadze. I mean, admittedly, DeAndre Ayton, as flawed as he is an upgrade over that. So that's what I got on DeAndre Ayton. Scoopy Robinson's going to join us in a little while here, but that is Andre said I'm a 10.5. Andre, stop lying to the people, man. Stop lying to the people. I'm a 4.5 at best. Just ask the ladies down here in Florida. All right, on to some more breaking news here. Julius Randle. I am so pumped for what the Wolves are doing. And I got some Naz Reid talk coming up for you in a little bit. But we're kind of attacked. That's why I stacked this. Like the core 4 is maybe some like older stuff. And this is all like the really, really fresh stuff. Came down yesterday. Julius Randle. And none of this is final and official, right? It's all being reported. And then will all be finalized in a week or so, whenever that is. All right, so Julius Randle coming back to my Wolves, 3 years, $100 million. And the deal includes a player option for 27, 28. He was at about 30, so he's getting a mild raise here. But once again, this is a bit of a hometown discount by Julius Randle. He gave one to the New York Knicks. To me, like, this is right about where Randle should be, in the 30s. I feel like he could get a little bit more. I do. I don't think 40 million's out of the question for Julius Randle, but given the Minnesota situation, Gobert, huge contract, Ant-Man, huge contract, Jaden McDaniels, huge contract. I think I'm forgetting a guy. Naz Reid now has a huge contract. You can't, they just don't have that max money for you. He's in a good spot, thrived in the playoffs. He's vibing with Anthony Edwards. There's no discord there. Ant's the 1, he's the 2. Everybody gets their role in their assignment, and it's all really healthy. And it's all really non-historical Timberwolves stuff, right? Where it's been dysfunction and discord and sanctions and just buzzkills. No, there's a love fest in Minnesota right now. And I'm loving it, all right? And so I love that Julius Randle is coming back. I love that he's getting a raise. And I love that he's under contract for 3 years here. Or 2 plus the 1. Jabari Smith got a bag by the Houston Rockets. 5 years, $122 million. That's the extension. So this is very clear. We had Ryan Hollins on last week. Love Ryan Hollins. He is the TV analyst for the Houston Rockets. And we were talking about after Durant, what this does for Jabari Smith. Will he start? And he basically said, without saying it, that that's the plan. Because he's with the team and they want to be careful and guarded about what they say. But if you read between the lines, that's what's going on here. We don't need to read between the lines anymore, people. Okay. 5 years and $122 million. He is going to get back into that starting five for sure. There's no doubt about it now. Your starting five is going to be Şengün, Jabari Smith, Kevin Durant, Amen Thompson, and Fred VanVleet. And you know what? That's a goddamn great starting five. It really is. Houston is going to make even more moves next year. Good for Jabari Smith. He was a good soldier last year with coming off the bench. He was just a warrior for them, and that really paid off for him. Classy young man, the son of a former NBA player and a get-it guy, unlike your guy Deandre Ayton. I think we all should have seen this coming, and it came, and we are here. James Harden declined his $36.3 million player option, which I'm sure raised eyebrow. Oh, wow, James Harden's going to be. No. This is all financial. All it is, just paperwork. And then he re-signed a 2-year, or will re-sign a 2-year, $81.5 million deal. So he went from 36.3, 81.5 is 40.5, it's like 41. Okay. He got like a $5 million a year raise. Okay. And it's another one where he's got the player option. It's the 1+1. So he'll be back. He'll be back at the dinner table next summer, unless he gets hurt or has a terrible season, which I don't think is going to happen. It's possible that he gets hurt, but it's not possible that he has a terrible season. It's incredible. Well, no, it's not likely. It's guaranteed that he's going to have a terrible playoffs. It's guaranteed. But anyway, he will. He'll most likely opt out next year and try to get another $3, $4, $5 million raise out of Ballmer going into that next year. But that's what's up with Harden. And so I like this because everything is static here. You got Kawhi, you got Zubac, you got Powell, you got Harden, you got Chris Dunn. Like, we all understand the Clipper thing. They've got some bench machinations to do here over free agency, but like, Clippers are keeping their thing whole, and I get it and I dig it. Now, this is just weird, okay? We got to talk about the Malik Beasley situation. And what's probably going to happen here is I start talking about it and Scoop comes in and then we'll blend it, which is all good. I saw this yesterday and I was like, no way, dude. Is this Saturday or yesterday? I think it was Sunday. Federal authorities. You never want to start a story with that. Federal authorities are investigating Detroit Pistons guard Malik Beasley on allegations of gambling related to NBA games and prop bets, sources told ESPN on Sunday. He might not be guilty. He might not be guilty. But still, this was a tough one to get. This was a much tougher for Malik Beasley. The allegations are from the 23-24 season. So not the one we just had, but the previous one. He averaged 11.3 points, played 79 games, and made a career-high 77 starts. At least one prominent U.S. sportsbook detected unusually heavy betting interest on Beasley's statistics beginning around January of 2024, a gambling industry source told ESPN's David Purdom. A gambling industry source pointed to a game between the Bucks and Blazers in January of 2024. The odds on Beasley recording fewer than 2.5 rebounds moved significantly at sportsbooks before the game, shortening from around +120 to around -250 due to a surge of action on the under. Malik Beasley finished with 6 rebounds, and the bets bets that were deemed unusual lost. Wow. Guys. Didn't Scorsese's mob movies teach us not to mess with the books? You're not gonna win. Like in Casino, a dude's head ended up in a vice. That did not go well for that guy. Really gory, terrible scene. But, I mean, a cautious tale. not to mess with the books. Guys, these are the sharks. Let me tell you a quick story here about gambling. We got Scoop. All right, let me tell you this story real quick, and I'll bring on Scoop. I was joking with Andre and Dr. A. So back when I was betting, I'm taking a break right now because of the beating I took in the finals. But I was betting on table tennis because I met a guy. He's like, dude, it's you're gonna crush, you're gonna make a ton of money. So I started betting on table tennis, and I started having a lot of success. Okay, and so Hard Rock Bet, and I'm betting literally 20s, 30s, 50s. That's it, 20s, 30s, 50s. But winning almost every single one of them, right? So my account's swelling and all this. And so the Hard Rock Bet, they put caps on the amount that I could bet on these table tennis matches. And I said to Andre, do you think this is for everybody or because I'm winning a lot? And he said, oh, no. This is because you're winning a lot. And so, dude, if I'm out here with $20, $30, $50 bets on fucking table tennis, and they are clocking me like, oh, here comes Kamla, this guy. I mean, are you kidding me? How do you think you can trick the books with wise guys and gamblers and guys at the betting book, and you're going to go out there on the court and configure your rebounding or your assists? Are you mad? I mean, give me a break, dude. And they're tied in with the federal government. Oh, by the way. And by the way, these books could handle their own business. They know people, but they're tied in with the government. They don't even have to call the people that they know. They're going to be going like this, waiting for you around the corner. They don't even have to do that. They just call the feds. And the feds are like, all right, on it. Cool. Think about this, guys. This can go one of two ways. This either goes the way of Jonte Porter. Okay, he's done. He's banned. The investigation proved that he was guilty and he's banned. He may be in jail right now. I don't know. I don't know. I lost track of that. So once he's banned from the NBA, I kind of moved on with my life. Terry Rozier was under investigation. I believe it was last year. Okay, no charges came. He was able to play. So obviously, they found him not guilty, and they investigated it, and the allegations were like incorrect, and he was fine. Okay, so we got two ways we can go here. And from Malik Beasley, I really, really, really hope we go the Terry Rozier way and not the Jonte Porter way. But right now, we're going Brandon Scoopy Robinson way and bringing him on to the SportsEthos NBA Show with Rick Kamla. And there is my guy, Scoopy
You're going
Radio,
the Brandon
baby.
Scoopy Robinson way without betting. We don't bet here.
Right now, I took such a bath in the finals. I'm on a hiatus here for betting until football season, Scoop. WNBA is going to get me cranked back up, but I literally still have a gash wound on my arm from the beating I took in the finals. So that's got to heal. Scoop, how the hell are you, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. I just keeping busy. How are you?
Couldn't be better, man. Couldn't be better. Passionately talking about the WNBA and NBA. I did my WNBA show at 10 a.m. It'll be out there, sportsethos.com, and all of our Twitter follows. I'm at Rick Kamla Sports. So, Scoop, let's pick up on what I was just talking about there, Malik Beasley. Tell me what you know. Tell me, just give me your overall thoughts on this investigation that's going to happen with Malik Beasley, because this – like I said, I hope this goes the way of Terry Rozier. Malik Beasley can get a big bag and be one of the best three-point shooters in the game. But there's a possibility that it's not going to go that way.
I'll tell you what, I don't know much about it. I saw it like everybody else did yesterday when it was reported, and it's a sticky situation. I'll tell you a story. I remember about 3-4 years ago, I had done some partnerships with sports betting companies, and my late mother called me, and she told me, I don't like you working with sports betting companies. And I said, why? She said, because you swaying people to select things based upon your insider knowledge, and if it's not right, they're going to be mad, and you may be supporting their gambling habit. And I never forgot that. I don't judge anybody who does. I don't gamble just because I think it's a conflict of interest in what I do and the information that I gather. But it's interesting that she said that about 3-4 years ago, and then now you're seeing players being implicated in things. And so I've kind of, when she said that to me, I kind of stayed away from it and listened to my mom. I kind of just stay away from it. I don't work in sports gambling anymore. I was getting some nice checks when I was paid off a lot of stuff. But I will just say that it's a slippery slope when you're a player and you have the ability to sway the direction of which way games go, and you have to be very careful.
Indeed, you do. God bless Malik Beasley. I hope this goes well for him, and we'll just have to find out the results of the investigation. This super jams up Detroit's free agent process. Signs were pointing to Malik Beasley. The reports were 3 years and $42 million, which is just a beautiful. What's that? 14 a year, something like that. Great money. May still be there for him, may not. Detroit, Scoop, may just have to go in a different direction. Re-sign THJ, go get another gunner who's available in free agency. Because if you just let all the guys go, Malik Beasley ends up in trouble, God forbid. And now you're out of, your 3-point specialist from last year. But let's bounce around. There's so much news. Scoop, Deandre Ayton bought out last night. Did that surprise you? Talk to me.
DeAndre Ayton has not played like himself since Phoenix. And, it was disappointing because there was a point where you look at the Indiana Pacers, and if I'm not mistaken, he signed that tender with Indiana, and Phoenix had a certain amount of time to match it, and then Ayton ended up getting traded to Portland. Portland was never built around centers in his time there. And there are teams out there who could utilize DeAndre Ayton's services at the center position. The Lakers make sense. The Nets make sense. But I think the Nets are in a precarious situation just because they're building young. So there are teams out there that make sense to me. But Ayton in Portland did not register as a long-term fit. So, no, I wasn't surprised that he got a buyout.
Does Golden State strike you as a fit for DeAndre Ayton? Do the San Antonio Spurs strike you as a fit for him?
Golden State would make sense if Kevon Looney does not return. There is significant interest around the league for Kevon Looney from league fixtures that I've spoken with, and he wants to get paid, and he feels that he's put in his time. So the Kevon Looney portion of it would make sense if he moves on from that team, and Ayton would fit. I think there's a few teams that Ayton fits, not just Golden State. I think I think there's a market for him.
Interesting, man. I'm not the hugest fan. Watched him play at Arizona, and there's so much more there that we're not getting. And it's kind of frustrating. But maybe somebody gets him and they bring the best out of him. That's the hope. We've got one of the best NBA insiders out there, Brandon Scoopy Robinson, on here with your boy, Rick Kamla. All right, let me ask you this. Do you believe that there is a snowball's chance in hell of LeBron James getting traded from the LA Lakers this offseason?
He opted in. And I will tell you that I was on a radio show last night and I was asked that question. And more specifically, I was asked about a specific team. And the team that I was asked about was the Dallas Mavericks. And I will share this with you like I shared on the other show. I'm going to write it later. I was briefed on a conversation that Kyrie Irving and LeBron James had a couple of years ago. And I tweeted the quote, "I'll think about it," on Twitter last night. And my followers who follow me, they know what that means. But essentially, Kyrie Irving was brought into Dallas to recruit, and he was successful in doing so last offseason when Klay Thompson, who wears Anta sneakers like Kyrie, came to Dallas. And, he has a track record there. Again, this is hypothetical, and this was the conversation that happened 2 years ago, where Kyrie was on the phone with LeBron, and Kyrie basically gauged LeBron's interest in joining the Dallas Mavericks. And LeBron, before hanging up the phone, told Kyrie, "I'll think about it." And I got a lot of phone calls about it, and but nobody ever told me I was wrong. And whenever I see this whole notion of Kai and LeBron and all this other stuff, I'll just quote tweet it and go, "I'll think about it," because that's what LeBron told Kyrie. I I think the Mavs, if he thought about it enough, and if he actually asks for a trade, because he hasn't, he opted into his deal, would make sense. He has a relationship with Jason Kidd, who was the head coach. Although I think if Jason Kidd has an issue with the Dallas Mavericks, particularly because he wants his contract extension, and I've extensively reported about his interest in wanting to be the next head coach of the New York Knicks, and he'd have to force his way out. I would imagine that if LeBron was traded to the Dallas Mavericks, that would keep him there. LeBron and Jason Kidd have a very long-standing relationship. They almost became teammates when they were players. There was a point where J. Kidd almost became a Cavalier at one point during his career. And the closest they got was J. Kidd being an assistant coach with the Lakers under head coach Frank Vogel at the time, and they won a championship in the NBA bubble. And so there's that. J. Kidd definitely and LeBron definitely have a fond they think the world of each other. And so it would be interesting to see if he were to request a trade to end up in Dallas. I think would revitalize his career, especially with Anthony Davis already there, a guy who is represented by Clutch, just like LeBron. So he's kind of got the inside track on what's going on in Dallas. But again, we're speaking in hypotheticals, and we're talking about a conversation on the phone that happened 2 years ago. And maybe he's still thinking about it. However, when you look at the Los Angeles Lakers and you see the interview that Rich Paul did yesterday with ESPN, where he talked about, wanting and expecting to win a championship, in the near future, again, I would not ignore those warning shots because Rich Paul has showed you that he knows how to get people out of places and get them to where they want to go. So that's what I know.
That was phenomenal.
Thank you.
That was phenomenal. I mean, for real. Like I'm sitting here as a fan, as an audience member right now, like eating this up, and my wheels are turning. Scoop, let's sit on this for a minute, okay? I would deem it. I love everything you said, man. I would deem it as unlikely, but it's not something I can rule out because there is logic to this. The Lakers. And to me, like LeBron, he's like, today, this week, he's like this to Rob Pelinka.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? So if they don't get Ayton, if they don't get Brook Lopez, if they don't get Myles Turner, if they don't get this center, if they don't get this center, and they're still kind of screwed at that spot, because that's the pivot spot for the Lakers. They have to get a big. And he doesn't need to be a future Hall of Famer. He's just got to be a solid dang player. But think about this. Dallas could trade the Lakers, either Gafford or Lively, Jaden Hardy, who I like, and then PJ Washington, who's kind of an odd man out right now with Cooper Flag coming in, and you've got all these bigs. And especially if LeBron came in, you would need PJ Washington. So maybe like a Derek Lively, a PJ Washington, a Jaden Hardy, a couple of picks, and you get LeBron James.
What I had was a cap impact of $1.6 million in a deal that could potentially include the Mavs sending Los Angeles Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, and Max Christie.
There you go.
And the Lakers in turn sending LeBron James and Bronny James to Dallas.
This is so sexy. I love this shit, dude. Dude, look, we come off of the most bizarre regular season of my lifetime. The Luka trade. Jenkins and Malone getting whacked right before the playoffs. There's probably some other nutty stuff. Like, that was the Twilight Zone, bro.
Don't forget Tibbs.
Tibbs, thank you very much. Because that absolutely falls in line with that. And think about if you just drop a LeBron trade to Dallas in that thing. And think about, dude, this is so sexy. It would be Bron Davis and Kyrie on the same team with Cooper Flag. Are you serious, dude?
And then the other thing is when you now this is more concrete and just conversations that I've had across the league. The Mavs are looking at at the point guard position, as a placeholder. While Kyrie is on the men, he's doing well, I'm told, and he's taking his time. He's enjoying his family, has got some vacation time, but they're looking at a couple of the Dallas Mavericks are looking at a couple different options. Chris Paul being one of them, although I know that Chris Paul maintains his home in Calabasas and wants to be in Los Angeles. I spent some time with CP3 last summer when he had just come back from a voluntary training camp with the San Antonio Spurs, and his son was with him. And I'm just like, man, you're getting big. And, he's playing basketball himself. So I know that Chris Paul was considering the Clippers last season, and it didn't work. And San Antonio was one of the other teams he was considering, which, I think was a smart choice at the time. But, adding Deandre Ayton, not Deandre Ayton, De'Aaron Fox, wrong D-E apostrophe, De'Aaron Fox, coming to San Antonio. And then, of course, Dylan Harper coming to San Antonio. There's a log jam at the 1 and 2 position. But to specifically go back to what I was saying about the Dallas Mavericks, I know that the Mavs are looking at both Chris Paul as well as D'Angelo Russell. And they're also looking at Dennis Schroeder as well. Dennis Schroeder and Jason Kidd go back to their Laker days. So there's an interest there as well. And I know there are people who say, well, what about Kyrie and Dennis Schroeder's relationship? They're fine. I was briefed on that recently, and I can tell you that the two of those guys have no problem with each other.
I'm wondering if the Lakers are better and closer to a chip if they flip Bron and Bronny for Clay, PJ, Gafford, and Christie. Because the Lakers' lack of depth is it's a huge problem. Gabe Vincent's giving them nothing. Jared Vanderbilt's giving them nothing. JJ Redick hates Dalton Connect and just refuses to play him. So, bringing in a crew versus and by the way, Austin Reeves would absolutely take off as the number 2 with Luka, and you'd have all these guys. There's some stuff that comes up. You're like, nah, that would never work. Or nah, that's completely unrealistic or whatever. I'm not getting those vibrations right now. I'm really, really not. The relationships that Bron has with Kyrie and with AD, and it just, I'm now thinking that this is way more possible than before this conversation, Scoop, and I give you a ton of credit, and our audience is just eating this up. I know. It is Rick Kamla. It is the SportsEthos NBA Show with Rick Kamla, the great Brandon Scoopy Robinson, one of the top NBA insiders in the game. And I ask you, Scoop, what have you thought about the Timberwolves offseason so far?
I'm glad Nasri's got his money. The thing that I am I'm concerned about is whether Nickeil Alexander-Walker will have to go elsewhere, and he's definitely earned that. And I'm curious to know what that would look like if he left, because
Terrence Shannon Jr.
Yeah. I also, the Julius Randle piece of it all. I'd like to see him return. I was disappointed during the playoffs, except for a couple games. But I think that they're this was a team that was looking to move Rudy Gobert, and they didn't. Defensively, I think he's a presence still there, but they were in the market to get Kevin Durant, and so now that is over, and Houston has KD. Now it's time to get to work. I also just know that Anthony Edwards is developing a post game over the summer, and when that happens, it's going to be curtains for a lot of Western Conference teams.
What? Do you have intel of who he's working with by chance?
I don't know who he's working with. I can find out, but I do know that the post game is something that is on his agenda. You can actually check out. You can go over to Scoopy.com, and I wrote an article about a week or two ago where I was his business manager and best friend. Sat down with me, and we just talked about a lot. They grew up together. They played high school ball together. He was in the Adidas commercial with him, the blue sneakers that he has. And we talked at length about a lot of different things, like him playing baseball.
Nice.
And what that was like in high school, and just the whole gamut. But I believe
That's cool.
I asked him about that. Yeah.
Scoop, I'm a huge Ant-Man fan. Huge fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Wolves guy, right? But I'd be a fan of Ant if he played for the Sacramento Kings. I love his personality. I love how tough he is, and I love the whole thing. All right. The fact, okay, half of his shots last year were threes.
Mm-hmm.
Half. He took 800 3-point attempts. That's way too many.
Mm-hmm.
Like way too many. So to hear that he's working on his post game, which Jordan mastered, Kobe mastered, LeBron, that was a huge thing with LeBron. Like LeBron needs to get in the post more, right? And he flirted with it, and there were times and stuff like that. But Mark Jackson, great post up guard, right? Jason Kidd was a good post up guard. Like that excites me, man. More great intel from Scoopy Robinson because Ant-Man's got to diversify his game. He's got to add layers. He's got to add to the tool belt, man.
Yeah, and I also just think that when Karl Anthony Towns was traded to the Knicks, he got a lot more free reign, and Cat took a lot of threes. I don't think he took as many as Ant did, but when Cat was in Minnesota, Ant was driving to the basket, and I think that may have taken a little bit of a toll on his body. That's my opinion. Nothing I've heard. And so I think, for self-preservation, developing more of a post game, it would be in his best interest to his already, huge arsenal of moves that he has already. So I think that's great. It's interesting. I spent some time with Mike Conley Jr., his teammate in Minnesota, and I asked him, you've been around for a while. Who does Ant's game remind you of? And he said there are parts of his game that remind him of Dwayne Wade. And I think that's a great compliment. Respectfully, though, I feel like Wade would have played a bit longer had he not taken so many hits earlier in his career. And just, that Allen Iverson took a lot of hits in his career, driving to the basket. And if you can find that balance where you have a sweet spot in the post and you're not just flying and driving to the basket all the time, I think that would preserve his career. Talking about Ant a lot more. And so that's just my assessment based off of that conversation and just from observing.
Post-up game for Ant-Man? Yes, please. Bring that on. I would love that. All right. Brandon Scoopy Robinson, scoopb.com, hanging out with your boy Cam. Talk to me about the Rockets offseason. Are you looking at them at winners right now? Did you not like the Durant trade? Because I mean, they have so many young guys that even after the Durant trade and Green goes out and Brooks goes out, I still love their roster. But part of me was like, do the OKC thing, bro. Why are we taking shortcuts here? Are you down with Houston's decision to go get Kevin Durant?
Yeah, I've known it for about 6-7 months, namely because of the relationship that he has with Ime Udoka and going back to Brooklyn and Team USA basketball. And, of course, his best friend, Royal Ivey, is an assistant coach with the Houston Rockets. And Royal got him to come to commit to University of Texas. And Royal was an assistant coach in Brooklyn when Kai and Kevin were there. And then, of course, they were teammates in Oklahoma. And so, I like the pairing of Kevin Durant and Houston. And I'm really interested to see how that works alongside he and Alperen Sengun, who I really like his game. You poll a lot of retired players and their thoughts on who he reminds them of. And the thing that I come away with quite a bit, Meta World Peace said it to me, and Vernon Maxwell said it to me, that Sengun reminds them of a modern day Pau Gasol. And Pau Gasol drew double teams, could kick out to open Kobe. And Kevin Durant can also draw double and triple teams and kick it out to Sengun. It's going to be very interesting to see. I'm also interested to see how, he and Amen Thompson, are formidable next to each other. So there are a lot of guys that I like on that team. I do want to see them go out and get another point guard. I think that another point guard would help quite a bit, because that is an arduous task for Fred VanVleet as a point guard. I think he's going to need quite a bit of help at the one position. I'm also interested to see how this is going to benefit Cam Whitmore, who I've read. I haven't heard that. I've read that. He's being shopped. So it'll be interesting to see how that fares out. But those are just some of my early observations of this team.
Pardon me. One more hoops question for you here, Scoop. Ace Bailey, it's been quite the saga over the last few days. How have you processed him not wanting to go, the late arrival to Utah, and now he's saying everything was good, I always wanted to be here? How are you processing all this?
Well, I do know that he wanted to go to Utah, and more specifically from the people that I speak with. I covered Rutgers basketball last season. I covered both Dylan and Ace Bailey. Dylan Harper went to my high school, Don Bosco Prep. And Ace Bailey, I've gotten to know him quite a bit. I can tell you that Danny Ainge has been, during the whole draft process, has been calling a lot of people, or had been calling a lot of people, to inquire about Ace Bailey and just all that comes with him. I know that Ace had his hesitations about going to Philly because he wanted more playing time, and he did not feel as though that would have been he wouldn't have got the playing time. I'll just say that. And him in Utah, I'm told he envisions a situation similar to Naz Reid in Minnesota, going to a place that to some may not have been as desirable as, say, in New York or Los Angeles or what have you, and going out there and making things shake. And as far as his agent goes, I spent some time with he's from East Orange, New Jersey, same as Vinny Brown from the hit group Naughty by Nature. And Vinny talked to me extensively about what Omar Cooper, his agent, was like, and spoke very glowingly about Ace, and said that he sees him potentially one day owning a team, and thinks that his business acumen is there. People just have to get time to know him. And as far as Ace goes, and as far as Omar goes, I know that they recently visited a park in East Orange, New Jersey, that they renamed in honor of Naughty by Nature. And, they were both part of that unveiling process, and, really spent the time in New Jersey and getting to know him. Those guys have been around each other since Ace was in high school. And, he transferred from a school in Chattanooga, Tennessee, all the way to the Atlanta area. And, to go from point A to point B to just dump on his agent, I'm just told that is not the way that Ace does business. And, we'll see. The jury is still out on what happens next.
I believe he is going to start in Utah as a rookie. I believe they're going to trade Jordan Clarkson. They already traded Sexton. Keontae George was already coming off the bench behind Collier. I think Ace will be the 2 for Utah this year in that starting 5. That's just how I'm projecting it right now. And I don't know really what's true, what's not. But if Ace Bailey tried to big boy Danny Ainge, that was the wrong guy to try to big boy, because he is one of the absolute G's of this league. But it's all seemingly peaceful and that kind of stuff right now. And Ace Bailey's a stud, and I can't wait to watch him play. And I do think, look, Philly's got Jared McCain coming back from injury. You've obviously got Maxey. You've got who's the kid? Quentin Grimes. There's a lot of guards there. So I think, and then they draft VJ Edgecombe. So I think who's going to be a bench player. So I think Ace actually positioned himself pretty well here. Scoop, let everybody know what you got going on, man. What do you what's your next broadcast? Tell them about your website. Just promote whatever you want to right now.
Scoopy.com. Check out the blog section. We talk about everything from sports, entertainment, music, and more, and just things that people tell me when my phone rings. Scoopy Radio is available on all streaming platforms. Check it out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ScoopB.
Scoop B, you're my guy, man.
Likewise.
It's all love, my brother. It's all love. Thank you so much for coming on. And obviously your intel's off the charts, but you're a great dude, man. You're my buddy.
Man, thank you as always for the opportunity to be myself.
All right, Scoop. Be well, man. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.
All right. Enjoy free agency. Brandon Scoopy Robinson. LeBron to the Mavericks. I'm going to be tomorrow morning in the job here. LeBron to the Mavs. Wow, they get. I don't know. Anyway, that was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool. We have so much more news to unpack, man. It is the SportsEthos NBA Show with Rick Kamla, and we get back into our parade of news here. Where do we leave? We left off at Beasley. All right. We talked a little bit about this. I don't want to spend much time on this. The Utah and Charlotte trade, Sexton going to Charlotte, where he might start. He might start. They may move Brandon Miller up to the 3. They may move Miles Bridges up to the 4. Start Sexton, or you would leave Josh Green in your starting 5 for the 3 and D, and then Sexton would be like a pretty high minute bench player. So he's going to have a role there. And I do like Colin Sexton, final year of his deal. Yusuf Nurkic goes to Utah. I don't understand the Bosnian beast. Nobody likes this guy. He'll be stuck behind Walker Kessler and Kyle Filipowski, and he will never play in Utah. And he might not even begin the season in a Utah uniform. They may reroute him to another team, but there is no fit in Utah for Yusuf Nurkic. Bobby Portis expected to sign a 3-year, $44 million to return to the Bucks. They love BP up there in Milwaukee. I got to be honest. I think he's worth more. I don't really understand this contract from Bobby Portis' standpoint. Hometown discount and all that. And I know Bobby. I love Bobby. I think he's a great dude. He's awesome in the community up there, like literally beloved in that community. He's a legend up there. And so maybe that love fest is. But I'm telling you right now, man, I see Gafford getting, Andre, $20 million a year. And I like Daniel Gafford. And I think Daniel Gafford's worth $20 million a year. But we're talking about right here, this is like $14.7 million a year. That's a hometown discount. This is an extremely team-friendly contract to me. This should be 3-60, 3-58, 3-55, something like that. He should be approaching $20 million a year. And it may be Bobby Portis' season in fantasy basketball if the Bucks let Lopez go and don't backfill him with another big boy. And then Bobby Portis will be the starting center next to Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Bobby Portis will have the biggest year of his career. So all that's what's going on there. We already talked a lot about LeBron James and stuff. He opted into the $52.6 million for this year. And obviously Rich Paul's floated out the stuff about, you better create a winner around here. I don't know. Like I said, what do I think the chances are of Bron going to Dallas? Off the top of my head here live on the air, what do I think the chances are of Bron going to Dallas? I'm going to say 25%. I'm going to say unlikely, but possible. Very possible. I'm going to say 25%. How about you? How about you guys? I think 25%. All right, time for Cam's Core 4. Again, I'll try to get through this in somewhat rapid fashion because we've touched on a lot of this stuff. Naz Reid, 5 years, $125 million with my Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm super excited about this. I was really, really worried about Naz going to another team and the Wolves not being able to afford him and all this kind of stuff. But I love this. This is an example of the A-Rod, Mark Lowry ownership. Glenn Taylor as the owner would have screwed this up. He would have found a way to screw it up. Naz Reid would be on the damn Jazz right now if Glenn Taylor was still the owner of this team. I'm telling you. Am I wrong? He's been the most mistake-prone owner I've ever seen in our sport. Well, no, I got to take that back because you have Sterling and Sarver. They're at the top of that list for sure, for all the obvious reasons. And Glenn Taylor, none of that nefarious stuff, just dumb decisions, dumb basketball decisions. But anyway, Naz Reid staying in Minnesota. I'm super geeked about that. So the Wolves are remaining whole, basically with the exception of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who will be on another team. It's already being reported that with Randall getting his money and Naz getting his money, the Wolves aren't going to have the money to pay NAW to keep him. And, it sucks, but you do have guys. You got Terrence Shannon Jr., you've got Minot, you've got Rob Dillingham, you've got Dante DiVincenzo, obviously plays a lot of bench minutes in those spots. And, you may go out, Leonard Miller is another guy they're grooming. And you may go out and get, another kind of mercenary 3-and-D guy off your bench. You may replace NAW with a guy like that. Naz Reid guards Jokic very well. He makes them different. Naz Reid makes them deep and talented and loaded, right? Because if you have Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle, you're really good. And then you're coming off with Naz Reid behind both those guys. Come on, now you're elite at that spot. I do consider this a team-friendly deal. I was looking at Naz at $30 million per year. He's at $25 per year. And I think, teams don't like giving out 5-year deals. They don't. Especially like to non-Trae Young-esque max players, right? For a Naz Reid to get 5 years, he had to make a concession, and I believe the concession was coming down from $30 million down to $25. We'll get the extra year. But I don't really agree with that negotiation because the final year of the deal is a player option, which you will probably opt out of. So in effect, it's a 4-year deal, not a 5-year deal. So I don't know. Maybe the Wolves with second aprons are like Naz and his agent, like, we can't go 30. Like, we can't. I don't know that. All right. I just know that I valued Naz Reid at $30 million a year, and he got 25, and I'll just say that's a team-friendly deal. Now, for NAW, the Hawks, the Magic, the Rockets have all been linked. The Rockets are a no. They don't need him. They've already got a bunch of NAW. With Whitmore and Tari Eason and all these, they don't need NAW. I want him to go to somewhere he's needed. Orlando, that'd be a great spot for NAW. Atlanta, kind of. They already have a lot of wings. Zach Resache might not start for this team, okay? So I would like it. The Clippers have been mentioned as a possible destination for NAW, and that I like a lot because the Clippers need bench work behind their really good regular season starting 5. So NAW would look good, I think. Oh, and then you have this, and it's interesting because of the Malik Beasley investigation. Detroit may just say, Malik, sorry, we can't wait. Like, we got to keep it moving. The show goes on, bro. And go get Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Reports are Detroit is preparing to make a competitive offer. They were for Naz Reid, but now could shift their focus to a Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That's number 1 of my core 4. Number 2 is Mark Williams getting traded, and they meant it this time, from Charlotte to the Phoenix Suns. So he goes, there's a first-round pick in this deal too, traded to Phoenix from Charlotte for a 2029 first-round pick. So that's what Charlotte gets back from Mark Williams. This feels like some real dumbassery. I don't understand why Charlotte has been so eager to get out of the Mark Williams business. He had a pop year, a breakout year last year, and just bloodthirsty to trade him to the Lakers, fell through. And then, bam, your first opportunity, bam, he's on the next thing smoking once we can trade him again. I don't understand that, okay? I don't. I know that LeBron thinking about maybe going to Dallas has a lot to do with Mark Williams, because if the Lakers were able to trade for him last year, I believe LeBron would have a lot more peace and contentness about this roster than he does, because they're headless at the center position. It's a great get for the Phoenix Suns. Great get. This is smart GMing, not this Matt Ishbia. Do all this. I got to win now. So all these shortcuts and all that. No. Trade a future number 1 pick for Mark Williams, who was a lottery pick, okay? And get the goodies from him now as opposed to waiting until 2029. This is good management, Phoenix. Well done. Way to go. Way to go, guys. Way to go. Why does Charlotte dislike Mark Williams so much? I would love to ask him that in an interview. Dude, they traded you twice in let's do the math on this, February, and they traded him twice in 4 months by the same team. Andre, has anybody else in NBA history been traded twice in 4 months by the same team? With obviously a rejected trade based on a failed physical. I'm not sure we've ever gone down that road. The NBA's been around almost 80 years, so maybe. But if there's been another example, there have been very few. We have an app. It's called the SportsEthos app. It's completely free, and it's completely badass. We're making big investments into what we call the next generation of sports ethos. The past 12 months have been a game changer for us on all fronts. We're working hard behind the scenes to give you the best fantasy product out there. I believe we're hitting the target with that. Download our app and you can find out more about that. It's the SportsEthos app and it's free. Stay on top of all the latest news for the NBA. NFL, Major League Baseball, plus take advantage of our fantasy baseball tools and our fantasy basketball tools. Our app is your ultimate edge. Don't miss out. Number 3 in my core 4, Davion Mitchell, off night. He didn't have an off night a couple of nights ago when the news came out that he agreed to a 2-year, $24 million contract with Miami. I love this. I do. I think he's a terrific player. He's finally found a home. It's a good contract for him. It is. I thought he'd be at about 10 a year. It's up to 12. Good for you, Davion. This is a good blend between team friendly and player friendly to me. Like, it's kind of just right. And my thing now is, will Davion Mitchell start this year over Kasparas Yakuchonis? He's a combo guard, but the Heat need ball handling, man. I think Yakuchonis at the very least will be the backup point guard to Davion Mitchell. But now I kind of like your point guard position. I mean, I don't love it. There's like teams with superstars at that position. You have Davion Mitchell and Kasparas Yakuchonis, okay? But I like it. Davion Mitchell took a bite out of dudes last year, man. Like, took a bite out of them on that defensive end and started making shots. And if memory serves, in the game where Miami got beat by 800 points by Cleveland, Davion Mitchell was the only guy out there giving a shit and playing. That's my recollection of that game, is Davion Mitchell was the only guy out there sweating. Everybody else was like, y'all got the plane started yet? I don't even want to shower here, bro. I just want to get on that plane and go to Cancun now. My shower will be the ocean when I get off the plane. That'll be my shower after the game tonight. Oh, man. And then number 4 is Lonzo Ball getting traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers from the Chicago Bulls for Isaac Okoro. What are the Bulls doing? I mean, what are they doing? To me, the Bulls, they are misled, man. They are misled. I liked the Giddey trade. I did. I liked it. It worked for both teams. Giddey popped. He's now the best player on the Bulls team. And OKC won a chip largely because of Caruso. So I liked it at the point of the trade. I did not see Giddey being averaging a triple-double in the last month of the regular season. No. But I saw Caruso being the over-the-top guy for OKC. I did see that. And I did like Giddey's new landing spot. But Patrick Williams, 5 years, $90 million last summer. What? I said on NBA radio, these guys are the biggest dumbasses in the league. I didn't say it quite like that. It's NBA radio. You got to clean it up. But you get the point. Unbelievable. They bet against themselves. Just super, super dumb. And now they're looking to trade him. Good luck with that. You're not going to be able to trade him because of the contract you stupidly signed him to. I don't understand this move. I don't. So is Kobe White going to be traded now? From the Chicago side, like Isaac Okoro. Cleveland could not wait to trade him. Chicago just helped out Cleveland in 2 ways. They got Okoro off the books, and they got in a point guard replacement for Darius Garland, who's not going to start the season on time because of an injury. Huge win for the Cleveland front office. And to me, it's another L for the Bulls front office. Isaac Okoro, he's just a guy, bro. He's just a guy. He's a bench player in the NBA. It's what he is. He had a dreadful year last year. Absolutely sucked. The year before, he was really good. And so what are they going to get in Chicago right now? For Chicago, this move sucks. For Cleveland, I absolutely love this move. Love it. So do I have anything else on that? I'll say this right here. More on the Cavaliers side, because the Bulls side is just, it's frustrating to me. Frustrating for Bulls fans. Shout out to my boys, Adam Amin and Stacey King. You deserve better. Adam and Stacey, you deserve better. They are a top 5 League Pass broadcast crew. Top 5. Maybe top 3. I don't know. I haven't done my rankings on that. I can tell you right now that Breen and Clyde and then Eagle and Kustok are probably 1 and 2. I do rock with my boys, Bill McDonald and Stu Lance. I do like my boys. I do like my boys. And I'm not a Laker fan. Bill McDonald, he goes crazy and stuff, and Stu Lance just the OG super. It works. I like it. I like a little Billy Mack and Stu Lance out there. I do. Anyway, I could talk NBA broadcasters literally all day. But to me, here's what the Cavaliers did. And again, it's really smart. They anticipated that they would not be able to afford Ty Jerome. And they went ahead and made this move. It reminds me of what the Knicks did last year. They could only pay Isaiah Hartenstein $18 million based on, I think, bird right restrictions and that kind of thing. They knew that they weren't going to be able to keep Hartenstein for $18 million. They knew somebody was going to come with more money and they were going to lose him. So they just said, all right, the Hartenstein thing, that boat has left the port and it ain't coming back. We got to make a move. Bam, Myles Bridges. Did they overpay to get him? Did the trade work out? We can, all that, but that's what they did. And to me, to a less splashy and dramatic degree, that's what Cleveland has done here. We are going to lose our badass backup point guard, Ty Jerome, in free agency. The people are going to pay him more than we can pay him, and we just have to come to that realization, which is very, very smart, because when you're delusional, you're dumb, okay? Don't be delusional. Be realistic, okay? And now you have Lonzo Ball, who was good last year. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he played. He's a defensive disruptor, and he's going to be a good stopgap. And then when Darius Garland comes back, he's going to be a good backup guard for Cleveland, as they try to make another push here. So it just makes so much sense on the Cleveland side. I think it's such good GMing by Kobe Altman. And I would highly recommend that Chicago sits put here with Kobe White. You already traded one guy. You're no longer crowded. I mean, you do have Herter and DeSumo off your bench behind Giddey and Kobe White, but you're deep. And you can play guys, you can downsize and play twos at the three and all this kind of stuff. You've got optionality, man. I don't think they have to trade Kobe White. I would be more inclined to trade Vucevic because he enters the final year of his deal than Kobe White. I like Kobe White. Kobe White's a young player, man. All right, time for in a bucket getter. Time for the Cammy of the week. My Cammy of the week is Adam Silver, the commissioner of our league. The era of parity is here. The era of pace and space is here. The era of labor peace is here. The era of player empowerment is here. And I know a lot of you have your feelings about it. Some of you like it. Some of you don't. Some of you accept it. Some of you rebel against it. I think it can be abused. And I think there are times when player empowerment, player entitlement, when player empowerment spills into player entitlement. But when it's just earnest player empowerment, like what's an example? Like a player with a player option. That's player empowerment. You have the option to grab that bag of money or opt out and become a free agent and redefine your situation in the NBA. That is the essence of player empowerment. You have the steering wheel on your career. You have your hand on that steering wheel. Nobody else does. Okay. So, I think player empowerment's a great thing. I think the days when Kareem was playing and when Elgin Baylor was playing and when Bill Russell was playing and, it was different. We'll just leave it at that. It was different. There's so much history that just drives me crazy. It just like treatment of players. They had to play back-to-backs. They flew coach. Like they had to share, two dudes had to like share a hotel room. Like all this kind of stuff, right? Player empowerment. They're just such in a better place, man. And a lot of that is just evolution and just humanity and the human race and all that kind of stuff in years going by. But anyway, Adam Silver's building a hell of a legacy on his way to the Hall of Fame one day, and he will be in the Naismith Hall with his, mentor, former boss David Stern. David, we still love you, still miss you. I love me some David Stern, man. But check this out. So I got a great stat for you, and I saw this online. There have been 9 different champions in Adam Silver's 12 years. 9 different champions in 12 years. Okay. And I think the Golden State is like those other years when it wasn't, just sort of a one-off. But in his 12 years, 9 different champions. David Stern was the commissioner for 30 years, 30 excellent years, 8 different champions. Crazy, right? Silver has been the commissioner about a third as long as David Stern, with one more different champion over that time period than Stern in 30 years. Wild, right? That is a great stat to encapsulate the difference between the David Stern era and the Adam Silver era. There are other differences. The style of play of the game has greatly changed. The officiating of the game has greatly changed. And there was another one. Why am I blanking on it? Punishment. The way Adam punishes players, way different than how David Stern punished players. David Stern, I mean, there was a mallet, there was a hammer, there was a sledgehammer, there was a bulldozer. Right? And then he chose between those instruments and how he was going to vet authority and rule on what you did. Okay? Talk to Gilbert Arenas. That did not go well for him. Talk to Meta World Peace. That did not go well for him. Okay? Chris Anderson. That did not go well for him. Okay? David Stern did not play for a second, bro. I mean, I love David Stern, man. I love David Stern. You know why? You know why I love David Stern? First of all, he was nice to me and cool to me. He was my boss for several years at NBA TV. And always really nice and gracious. I was nervous before I did an interview with him on NBA TV, and he knew I was nervous. And he's like, Rick, I can tell you're not really yourself, because I'm on NBA TV all the time. He's watching NBA TV all the time. So I mean, we weren't like buddies, but he's like, I can tell you're not yourself. I'm like, Commissioner, I'm nervous. And this is really early in my career. And he goes, what are you nervous about? And I go, the referee thing, and we're going to be talking about it, and I want to say the right thing and not say the wrong thing. And he's like, Rick, we are the league's network. We are NBA TV. We cover the good, the bad, the ugly. Relax, take a deep breath, and let's just talk about it all. And I was like, boop, bubble popped, nerves gone. Like David Stern just basically kind of hugged me. Like I was like, I'm good. Let's do this show. I'll never forget that, though, man. This is David Stern. David Stern can be like, what the fuck are you nervous for? What, and been like kind of a jerk about it. No. And he was, I heard stories like, if you weren't prepared for a boardroom meeting with David Stern, and he asked you a question and you did not have a good, well thought out researched answer on that did not go well at all for that executive. And I heard some particular stories. But Stern was just an absolute OG and a gangster, like in the greatest sense of the word. He just was. It was. Still love you, David. Down here, but Adam Silver's doing his thing, and that is the way to look at it with the number of championships. So I put out a Twitter poll, and I haven't even looked at this yet. I'm really curious to get these results. I put this out yesterday. Where's my poll? Here's the poll. All right. And I gave this stat out. So which do you prefer in the NBA? The era of dynasties or the era of parity, which we're in now? The era of parity is dominating at 64%. The era of dynasties is at 36%. So that's another win for Adam Silver right there. Yes, it's a little poll on my little Twitter account, okay, at Rick Kamla Sports. But it's a pretty well-represented poll. And it's a good look for Adam Silver. Because if that was 64%, they prefer era of dynasties, then that means that there's a lot of people in the Hoophead fan base that don't like the way the NBA is flowing right now. But this is an indicator that most people in the NBA fan base right now do like the way it's a different champion most years. You've got middle market teams, you've got smaller market teams, you've got teams that have never won it before winning. You think of Toronto and Denver and Oklahoma City, never won it before. They're getting chips. It breathes life and hope into all kinds of teams all around the league. Like, why can't it be us this year, right? And why can't it? Why can't the Wolves win their first championship next year? Of course they can win their first championship next year. Why can't the Sacramento? Sorry. That was for my guys. I work with a bunch of guys that are big Kings fans. Kind of an inside joke. Pardon me. But anyway, the Kings, they haven't won a chip yet, and That shit ain't happening next year. Hey, it's time for Rick's rant. Hey, speaking of the Kings, I want to know something. Why does everybody seem to hate Domantas Sabonis? Why? Domantas Sabonis seems like the nicest guy on earth. I'm a nice guy. Like, I relate to nice people. Andre Lemouche, arguably the nicest guy I've ever met in my life. I'm serious. I know he's like, oh, shut up, stop. He is. He's a nice guy. And I don't, we're not nice guys you can take advantage of. We're not punks over here, but we're nice guys, okay? Easy to work with, fun-loving guys, just like normal. Like, I think it's how pretty much everybody should be. Like, it's very peaceful. It's very serene. There's no drama. There's no buzzkill. It's a good way to live, man. But a lot of people like drama and chaos. They welcome it into their lives, and we all get it, right? All right. Anyway, back to our story here. Domantas Sabonis seems like one of the most nice, enjoyable, likable guys in the NBA. I have never met or interviewed Domas. For whatever reason, I haven't. It hasn't come up. But just listening to him in interviews, the way he interacts with reporters, he seems like a genuinely kick-ass guy. So, okay. Now, let's go to the player. This dude is a historically awesome center. He is one of the best point, rebound, assist centers in the history of the NBA. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. This guy has not made either of the last two All-Star games, despite posting ridiculous, gaudy, historic numbers. On a relevant team. Not a great team, but a relevant team. He's not on a team going 10-72. He's on a relevant team. For the life of me, I don't understand how he's missing All-Star games. Because the coaches vote on reserves. How do the coaches in the NBA not love Domantas Sabonis? He is an unselfish guy. He doesn't have to go out there and take 20 shots and get 20 points. He doesn't care about that. He wants to dime his teammates, play his role, and win, and be a nice guy off the court. I would think that the coaches would love Domas and go out of their way to get him to All-Stars. And you don't even have to go out of your way to get him to All-Stars. Look at his fucking numbers. They scream All-Star. And now we get this. Jay Anderson, Sack B, has been covering the Kings for a long time. The Kings are expected to explore trades for DeMar DeRozan and may also test the market for Domantas Sabonis. Quote, the Kings are expected to explore trades for DeMar DeRozan. He puts a bunch of stats here that I don't care about. DeRozan has 2 years and $50 million remaining on his 3-year contract he signed in Sacramento last summer. He's owed $24.8 million next season, $25.7. Sacramento could also test the market for Domantas Sabonis. Okay. Is this intel coming from the team, or is Jason... I believe it's Jay Anderson. I have Mr. Anderson. I don't know. Or is he just speculating here? This is the first I've heard of Domas being on the move. I've heard of maybe moving Levine. I've heard of maybe moving DeRozan. Why the F would you move Domantas Sabonis, still in his 20s, still in his prime? He's the hub of your offense. This makes no sense. This is some Vivek Ranadive bullcrap is what it is. Does it make sense to trade DeMar DeRozan? Yes, he is 36? Okay, trade DeMar, and I love DeMar DeRozan. Yes, trade DeMar DeRozan. Domas should be afraid. You traded Halliburton to get him. I can't with this league, dude. I can't. I can't. I love the NBA, but I can't with some of the decision-making in this league. Bro, you traded Halliburton for Domas. And now you want to maybe trade Domas? Are you out of your... Yes, they're out of their minds. They're in Sacramento. They're blowing everybody out. The fact... I just still can't. The fact that you knew if you fire Mike Brown, you are going to send De'Aaron Fox out of town. Everybody knew that. Everybody. De'Aaron Fox made it clear. I need stability, okay? I need to know my coach is going to be here because remember, De'Aaron Fox could have signed a max contract. Didn't. Pushed it off. And they signed Monk for him. They brought in DeMar DeRozan. They made all these moves. Damn, Fox still isn't signing that contract. What up? Okay? The what up was he didn't trust the damn leaders of that team. And rightly so. Good move, D. Fox. I see you, bro. I see you. Get out of Sac, man. You know what? Look at, I want Domas to get out of Sac. You're too good for Sac, Domas. And maybe if you got out of Sac, you'd make a damn all-star team. Because it's like Sac is like in Hawaii or something. It's like in a freaking island in the middle of the Pacific. Sacramento, they suck. It's just crazy how off the radar that team is. Crazy. Domas not making all-star teams. It's a joke. Like, it's literally beyond egregious, man. Well, this has been a hell of a spicy episode. Free agency opens up later on today. We'll be talking about it all week on the fantasy shows. Oh, boy. Your boy gets fired up, man. I do. All right, so let me, where's Rick's rant in here? Do I got a Rick's rant in here? I just did Rick's rant. See, I'm getting all discombobulated now, too. All right, little shout out before we get out here. I'll just give you one here. One shout out before we get out. It's twofold. It's for my good buddy, Steve Alexander. He's on vacation with his family right now. You know, we co-host the Fantasy NBA Today together. Huge Luka fan, and now a huge Laker fan. And so I shout him out. He's off this week, and I already miss working with him. We go back and forth with the Doey Doncic thing and all that kind of. Well, I gotta like that. I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to bury that nickname. Doey Doncic. It's so good though, right? It's alliterative, it flows, it's kind of lyrical in a way. Doey Doncic, man. Kind of turn it into a rap song. I don't know. But Dave McMenamin reports Doncic remains motivated by how the Dallas Mavericks treated him in the aftermath of the trade and how the Lakers season ended, and has committed to an offseason training and nutrition program, sources told ESPN. So again, like the remains motivated. I don't know. It's like kind of a fluffy story, midsummer, whatever. But this is what it's supposed to be. Like Luka gets it now. Luka, I think, thought he got it, but he didn't get it. He didn't fully get it. He got it to the point of I can go 39-9 every game in the NBA while I'm just kind of screwing around out here. He got, a 70-point, almost triple, like some of the most crazy stuff the NBA's ever seen. And the young man didn't even have it all figured out yet. And he's already got a 70-point game. And he's already led the league in scoring and just all this crazy stuff. Already been to the finals. And he wasn't focused enough, wasn't motivated enough, wasn't serious enough, and still did all that stuff. I don't know if I've said this, but based on this pivot in Luka, I think I've already said this, but I have said this now that I'm thinking about it. I've guaranteed at least one championship for Luka. I don't know if it's going to be a Laker year. Before he retires the NBA, he'll have at least one championship. I feel super, super, super safe in saying that. Maybe multiple, right? Depending on if he gets with the right group. But there's two guys. There's two guys in this league that are on the verge of taking over. Ant-Man's already taken over the ad space, the face of the league thing, the Madison Avenue stuff. It's already Ant-Man. That's already him. To me, it's not a debate. People, who's the face of the league? And they have these debates and these panel shows. It's not even debatable. If you watch the NBA and consume the commercials as well, how can it not be Ant-Man? I guess it depends on what your qualifications are. For me, it's how visible you are. You're the face of the league. That speaks to visibility. That does not speak to resume, body of work. I'm not saying, Ant-Man over LeBron and Curry. They're the biggest stars in this game. But who's in more commercials? Who's more visible? Who do you see more often with stuff on Twitter and social media? It's Ant-Man, okay? He's more visible. And just perceptionally, a little bit bigger deal right now than Bron and Curry. But for Ant-Man and Doncic, it's about getting serious. It's about, what Scoop was saying about Ant-Man working on his post game. Yes, that's it. That's that Kobe shit. That's that Jordan shit. That's what you need to be on, okay? Steve Smith told me one time, the great Smitty over at NBA TV, he's got one of the great moves of all time, the little the little rock you back out to the perimeter, and then you come right back down in. It's the Smitty. Everybody knows the Smitty. It's been rocked by millions of players. Great guy, by the way. Love me some Steve Smith. He and I'll cuss here. It's not harsh, but he told me because we were talking about like mean guys, and we were on set one at NBA TV probably 15 years ago. And we were talking about, because I'm a nice guy, right? So we're talking about like the bad guys and the killers, right? And I might ask a question like a Kobe and a Mike. Yeah, I mean killers and all this kind of champions, but like were they hard to play with? Were they, and all that kind of stuff? And he cut to the chase. He goes, he calls me Tricky Ricky. He goes, Tricky Ricky. Let me tell you something. There's one thing that all NBA champions have in common. Every single one of them. The stars, the leaders of the championship teams. He said, you have to be an asshole. And again, he's as classy and as gentlemanly as possible, and it's not that bad of a word. But he said, you've got to be an asshole. You will not win a championship unless you're an asshole. Well, it will not happen. It will not happen. And I think we see that. I do think we see that. And so you think of James Harden. You think of Dwight Howard. Okay? Like they weren't that word enough. Ant-Man. Half of his shots were threes last year. That's not asshole. A-hole is getting to the line 10 times a game. A-hole is doing your thing and winning 16 playoff games while Twitter is calling you a foul baiter and all that bull crap with SGA. That's a killer. That's an a-hole. Trust me, he does not give one little damn about any of that. He has figured out a way to play that's highly successful, and he is going to duplicate that until somebody can take it away from him, either via defense from another team or the league changing rules. Otherwise, he is not going to change a thing, nor should he. He is at the serious level. Okay, that's why he's a champion. Jason Tatum is at that serious level. That's why he's a champion. Jaylen Brown's at that serious level. That's why he's a champion. Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron James. They're at that serious level where the only thing that matters is a championship. And for Luka and Ant-Man, that has not been the only thing that mattered. It hasn't. There's been lifestyle. There's been this. There's been that. And they're young. You're not supposed to have it all figured out like you're Ant-Man and you're 23. You're not. And I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at Luka. I have diagnosed the problem. And I told you when Luka lost the finals to Boston a little over a year ago, I said, this was on NBA radio at the time, we all love Luka. We all see the greatness. The problem with Luka is he's not serious enough. Because when you're serious enough, you're going to get your conditioning to a level where you're not the pigeon every single time you're on the court defensively, and you're actually going to make a defensive play or two. All you have to do is hold your own defensively if you're Luka. You just have to hold your own. You do not have to be a plus defender. You just can't be a minus defender. So getting serious will lead to the conditioning, which leads to him being a neutral defender, not a plus, not a minus, but just kind of a guy, okay, where you're not killing your team every single defensive possession. He has to get to that level or he will not win a championship. And getting serious, getting motivated, changing your body, changing your nutrition, that's how you do this, okay? Bravo, Luka. Bravo. And again, I'm not mad. You didn't trick off years like you were learning and figuring it out, and you needed Dallas to literally urinate on you, and you finally got it, okay? But doesn't matter. Boom, you had the epiphany. The epiphany has been had, and that's what we all wanted, okay? And for Ant-Man, I feel less confident that epiphany has happened for Ant-Man than it has for Luka, because Luka had a drastic life change, which caused him to do serious soul searching and caused him to get serious and get mad and get angry, okay? That has not happened for Ant-Man. So while I am very, very, very confident that Luka is going to come out a different level of asshole and killer this year, I'm not with Ant-Man. I want him to do that, but I'm not as confident. But these are the things I'm watching with Ant-Man and Luka. It's not points per game. It's not it's not so much tangible stuff. It's are you getting more serious? How bad do you want the gold ball? How bad are the losses stinging? Okay. Are you going to the club immediately after your elimination game and kicking it and you're smiling? Like, if you are, good for you. You're young, you're out having fun. I mean, I'm not mad at you. But also, if you want to be Kobe and go home and like cry in a corner for 2 days because you're Magic Johnson, tragic magic? He said he went in a hole for 2 weeks after losing that finals, okay? Like, I can kind of relate to that too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to the club. I'm depressed. Life sucks. I just lost the chip. That's the seriousness that these guys need to have, okay? And I can't wait to watch their stories unfold and the layers of the seriousness get put on the layers of seriousness, and eventually both these guys are going to be champions. It's so much fun. I love the NBA, and I love all you guys. This has been the Sports Ethos NBA Show with Rick Kamla. Huge shout-out to the greatest producer of the world, Andre Lemouche. Huge shout-out to my guy, Brandon Scoopy Robinson. Really appreciate him joining the program today. And a huge shout-out to all of you. Guys, free agency starts today. Enjoy. Feast on all the news. Popcorn's going to be popping. You're going to get Shams bomb after Shams bomb. I'm going to be getting Andre Lemouche bombs, okay? And so it's all going to be happening. I'll see you next week, guys. I really appreciate you. And this episode's been brought to you by Bet Online. See you soon.